Pete.
Yep, I just did it.
Okay.
Okay, cool.
Bye, guys.
All right, let's get started up. You guys, I've been waiting for this all week. I'm super, super excited. We have on the top productivity coach in the United States. And I'm telling you, what he's going to share with you today is going to blow you away. I mean, Brian Moses is not only a good friend of mine, he's one of the top people that you're going to be in front of that's going to help your productivity to make money immediately in this market. And he's definitely somebody that you want to be connected to. I mean, Brian used to work for Craig Proctor for years. He was with Tony Robbins for 30 years. For 3 years, he was helping Tony Robbins as a productivity coach with Fortune 500 companies to make more money and be more productive and so forth. So you're getting the best of the best today. And we're going to do an interview type style with him where I'm going to ask him questions based on the market, productivity, how to get your business to the next level and so forth. And then the last 15 minutes, we'll do a Q&A with Brian, with all of you, so you guys can get your questions answered. So 45 minutes, we're at roughly 40 minutes with Brian, Q&A style, and then we'll do a Q&A with everybody in here where you put your questions into the chat box and I will ask the questions. Okay, and while I'm doing that, I'm going to be admitting people and so forth, so just bear with us on multitasking. But Brian, welcome. Thank you for being on. Thank you for coming to share with us. And this is an unbelievable opportunity. I'm so excited.
It's great to be here. Thanks for having me, Pete.
Yeah, thanks, buddy. Hey, listen, I want to get right into it. And right now we're entering the spring market. It's been a little bumpy with rates and so forth. What is your number one listing appointment strategy that wins against other top agents?
So loaded question. So there's three simple steps to accelerating your results, Pete. I like to keep things simple because simplicity scales, complexity fails. So there's lead generation. Okay, assuming you got plenty of leads, now we need to get those leads moved over to appointments. That's step 2. And there are skills to do that effectively. There's do's and don'ts. You know, we've all talked to a lead and didn't get the appointment, and then we scratch our head and go, I probably shouldn't have said that. Maybe I should have said this instead. So what you say matters, how you say it matters, and when you say it matters. So that's lead conversion. And then third is client acquisition. So I guess to answer your question effectively, which context do you want to get more listings in? Is it step 1, step 2, or step 3?
Well, I think most people, it's probably step 2 or 3 because they have to identify who their ideal client is and so forth before they go for listings. I mean, it's not just a shotgun approach. I think we have to have a refined approach. Wouldn't you agree with that?
Yes, but so what do we do to get more listings? When we're to win the listing at the seller's house, I like to eliminate the competition without disparaging the competition. So the first thing I do when I'm going through the seller's house and I'm ascertaining whether I can go for the finish line or do I have to turn this in a 2-step process. And the reason I would have to pivot and turn it into a 2-step appointment is because maybe the husband or the wife wasn't present and I'm not going to get the listing signed without both people there. So, but that's all set up in the qualifying prior to going over there so that they are both there. You know, I have systems and processes for everything, but assuming everybody's there and you're like, okay, they're motivated, this is a good appointment, let's go for it. As I'm walking through the house, I'm asking them, how did the appointments go with the other agents that they interviewed? And I know that they interviewed other agents because I asked them that as a qualifying question prior to my arrival. Are you talking with anyone else about the sale of your home? Yep, we're talking with ABC and XYZ. So now when I get there, how'd the appointments go? So what would you say? What do you think the normal answer is?
I would say the normal answer on something like that is they'll say, yeah, it went well. What do you have to offer me?
Yeah, well, that's great. So they went well. Let me ask you specifically, Pete, what was it that they shared with you that knocked your socks off, blew you away, rocked your world? I'm curious.
What knocked my socks off is just how they market and their exposure and some of the other things that they have with their company, getting it out to, as a pre-listing ahead of time, kind of a pocket listing. I like that. And I know that's a hot topic right now.
That blew you away? That
Yes.
impressed? So what I'm going to do, folks, is I'm going to create doubt by minimizing whatever it was that blew the seller away. Like everybody does that, Pete. So was there anything specifically that they said, suggested, shared with you that you didn't like, that offended you in any way, or that upset you?
Well, the price they gave me upset me a little bit.
You're kidding me, really? In today's market?
Yes.
So to win the listing, there's a series of things. I call them vital organs, gang. If we have vital organs, we have a heart, we have lungs, we have a liver, we have kidneys, we have a brain. Which of those organs are you willing to give up and still think you can live? You can't give any of them up. So to win the listing, it's not one thing. It's a great question. If there was one thing, I'd be 10 times richer than I am now. It's a series of vital organs. And it's one of the vital organs is revisiting your process and how do you differentiate yourself right out of the gate. First impression, that's a vital organ. So that's how I differentiate myself. Another thing that I do to win the listing, Pete, another vital organ, is I set them up and I say, Mr. and Mrs. Seller, I appreciate you showing me your home. You mentioned that maximizing your home's value is important to you. There is one thing that will determine whether or not you get your home sold at the bottom of the market or the top of the market. Mr. and Mrs. Seller, do you have any idea what that one thing is? And this is a system for me, gang. I do it the same way every single time. Every listing appointment, I'm going through these steps. So do you know what that one thing is? And they go, marketing, exposure. Those are really great guesses, Mr. Seller. You're not wrong, but it's not the one thing. The one thing that's within your control that determines whether you sell your house at the bottom of the market or the top of the market is the agent you choose. Can I tell you why? Now you just hit them with an uppercut. You're framing that this decision is the most important decision of all decisions, the agent you choose. Because all agents aren't created equal. Price is a function of supply and demand. And the more demand you get on your home, the better price you'll receive. Does that make sense, Mr. Seller? So can I share with you a few of the things that we do that are unique, different, advantageous to you that you might not have heard from your previous appointments? Can I share those with you?
Yes.
Now, let me just ask the group, you can type in the chat, do I have the seller's attention right now? Am I controlling this appointment or are they controlling the appointment? So that's a second thing. And, so how we frame what we do is really critical. It's called preemptive marketing. We advertise, we get your property to market sooner, we stage. We've got to speak differently than what they hear from everybody else. So how many of us, one of the things that we do when we list a house is we enter it into the MLS, right? We all do that. But if I say that to the seller, I'm just another agent. So instead of saying it that way, I've repackaged it and I said, well, one of the things that we do to increase the demand on your home, Mr. Seller, is we syndicate your property to over 200 different websites. You probably heard of Zillow, Realtor.com, but there's 198 other sites where buyers look for homes. And I don't know which stone you want to leave unturned, but if I were selling my home, I'd want to be on all of them. Don't you agree? So did the other agents that you speak with talk about website syndication with you?
Yeah, they did, but they said they syndicate with around 80.
They used the word syndication.
Yes.
See, now, I've never in 30 years heard a seller say, yeah, they've talked about syndication. So Pete is, Pete's
I'm a tough seller.
Pete's one of the top realtors in North America, and he knows what syndication is, and he probably uses that. But if you ask that question, here's what you'll get. They never mentioned that. They told me they put the property in the MLS. Huh. Interesting. So what I'm doing is I'm creating doubt. So those are two things at the listing appointment that are really, really critical and vital.
I love that. That's such a gold nugget with the syndication and just differentiating yourself. And I'm being hard on Brian, you guys. I'm being a hard seller, but most sellers, he's right, will not ask about that in the exposure.
You can be as hard as you want. I've done this 3,500 times. It's like a boxer in the first round, they get punched in the face. Generally, it doesn't knock them to the canvas, right? They know how to take a punch. So I can take a punch as long as the punch is realistic. I've never in my life had a seller say, yeah, I talked to 3 other agents and they said exactly what you said. Because I'm intentional about saying things that nobody else says. Hopefully that makes sense.
No, I love it. What objection do you hear most, and what exactly do you say back from sellers? Because this is important. People sometimes get caught off guard with a certain objection. I want to know, Brian, with all the time that you've done this, what is the objection that you hear the most?
I don't hear many, because a good presentation answers objections before they become objections. But let's pretend that what objection in the chat, they can write in the chat, what objection do they want me to handle? And I'll handle it. What's the most common objection? Our viewers, let's make this about them, because I don't hear a lot of objections. The goal for you all, for those of you that are full-time, career-oriented, want to make a lot of money, want to have a lot of balance and time freedom in your life, it's all about creating value propositions. And when you create value propositions that contrast you from your competition, they'll pay more too. Commissions don't become an issue. I charged a premium for listing homes in my marketplace because it goes away when you're the obvious choice. So let's see what we've got in the chat. Okay, so Maria.
So Vicky and Alexis said the other agent sold more homes or has more experience than me.
So the other agent, so get clarity. Whenever somebody gives you an objection like they sold more homes, specifically in this area, in your neighborhood, in the state, what are we talking about? And are you interested in the agent, that's the rear view mirror. Let's look about going forward. Let's talk about you and your house, not me and my production results. You don't really care about that. You care about how you're going to get the best price. So I would try to reframe them and reposition their focus. If I didn't sell a lot of homes, or if I was, up against a top agent, I'd make it about what's important to them. Here's what I can tell you. What was her name?
That was Alexis and Vicky.
Alexis and Vicky. The 3 things that every seller wants: they want to get the most amount of money for their house. They want to sell it on their timetable, meaning they don't want to sell it and be homeless, and they don't want to sell it and then have another mortgage payment where they don't want to sell it and be homeless, and they don't want to have 2 mortgage payments, buy a house while they're waiting for theirs to sell, and they want no pressure. The reason I don't advertise my track record, I was the number 2 agent in the world, and it wasn't part of my advertising because nobody cares. Nobody cares. At the appointment, I'd certainly mention it because that's worthy of mentioning. So if you're up against somebody else, bring it back to those 3 things that really matter to you, really matter to the seller. So it's about the price. So show them how I'm going to get you better the price. They sold more homes in the state than me. Good for them. Did they do website syndication? Did they do migration mapping? Are they doing, full video tours? Well, whatever it is that you can create doubt that, geez, they didn't mention that. They didn't mention that. And they didn't mention that. So what do you think is going to get you a better price for your house? There was another one, commission. Commission's an easy one.
Yeah. Commission and price to list.
So my goal when I go on a listing appointment is I want to win the listing. I want to get it at my full commission, and I want to get it at a competitive price. In that order. You know, there's coaches and trainers that will say, hey, if you don't get it at a competitive price, you should walk away. Do you know how many hundreds of thousands of dollars I lost because I walked away from listings because the seller was a little bit unrealistic, a little bit motivated, and then they listed with somebody else and it sells? So be cautious. I'm not saying to be, ridiculous in taking grossly overpriced listings, but if it's within a margin of 7 to 10%, I'd probably take that listing. So get the listing, get it at your full commission, get it at the right price is also my goal. But if it's commission objection, I want to make sure that you're all doing a net sheet. So when we get to pricing and we determine that we'll you just use round numbers, we'll say that the top of the market is $1 million for this house. And I've shown them houses from 700,000 to $1 million. And I say, where does it look like the top of the market is, Mr. Seller? And they go, it looks like $1 million. We were hoping for more. I go, I get it. But can we take a look at what that will translate to you? And I go to a net sheet. When I go to the net sheet, here's a golden nugget. I know whether they have a mortgage or not because I've done my due diligence prior to the appointment. Most have a mortgage. As I'm pulling out the net sheet, I say, Mr. Seller, what do you think the biggest expense is when selling your home? They go, commission, what do you charge? I say, I wish, Pete, I wish I was the biggest expense. You told me that you had a mortgage with Bank of America and you owe them $287,000 on the property. They're going to take the biggest hunk of your equity. So I've positioned the bank as the big bad wolf, not me as the big bad wolf. Does everybody understand the psychology in that? Then I walk through the expenses and I tell them what the total real estate fees are to include cooperation with all 50,000 agents in Greater Atlanta, all companies in Greater Atlanta, both buyer side and seller side. This is what we approximate the total commissions to be. To let them know I don't get all of that money. I get to the bottom line, I say, will that work for you? Well, yeah, but your commission, so-and-so said they would do it for 1% less. I see, I understand. 1% of $1 million is how much? $10,000. It's a lot of money. So I always monetize the percentage to dollars. So $10,000. So we're talking about $10,000 here. Well, we can reduce our fee and match them, but we'd have to get rid of website syndication. Do you want to do that? Because the other people didn't talk about it, so they're probably not doing it. We'd have to get rid of migration mapping. Migration mapping, Mr. Seller, is a U.S. Census Bureau that I subscribe to that gives me data and demographics on who is most likely coming into Nashville, Tennessee, and who the likely buyer is for your home so that we have an advantage to put your property right in front of their face. Do we want to skip that? No, I don't think we want to skip that. See, gang, commission will always be an objection if you're comparing an apples to an apples. But you've got to be an apple to a apple tree. You're the apple tree. Now, if it's still, so if they go, no, I don't want to get rid of that, I don't want to get rid of that, I said, well, why don't we do this? We want to get you, do you want the highest price or do you want the lowest commission? Because you can't have both. So if $1 million is the high price, $700,000 is the low price, what's better? $1 million at X percent or $700,000 at X minus 1%. And they go, well, $1 million. Well, why don't we just do that? And if you're still stuck, hey, why don't we do this? $10,000 is a lot of money. Why don't we list the property for $1,025,000? I'll earn my commission. So I'll bake it into the list price.
I love that.
That was a lot there.
There was a lot there covered. I like that. And I like how you use syndication, you use the net sheets and so forth, because the other thing, I'll just comment on this, you guys, if you're not using net sheets, you're missing the boat, especially in this market. Because the last thing you want to have happen is where they accept an offer and they get to the end and the net sheet comes up from escrow or from the closing attorney and they freak out and say, I'm not netting enough money, I've decided not to sell it, which can happen.
Valley Stahlberg said, I had somebody try to pick apart my compensation because I have 3 plans. Gang, I don't know what coach or trainer or rocket scientist suggests you go into a listing presentation with 3 plans. I want to get my house sold for the most amount of money. 1 plan will get that done. I don't want to do less for my seller and reduce a plan that's going to get them a lower price. Makes no sense to me. If you want to charge add-ons, detrashing a property, hiring contractors, facilitating work, you can do that. But when you give people a choice, they're thinking, I'm going to get $1 million no matter which plan I choose. And that's just not the case.
I like that. Hey, let me switch gears here on you a little bit. What do you feel right now the top 2 lead sources that produce actual listings, not just leads, but listings in this market right now?
Top 2 lead sources. So we're talking about media strategies, I presume. And there's 3 types of media. There's expensive media, inexpensive media, and free media. We've got different people with different production levels, different budgets here. If money was no object, radio and television would be my number 1 media because it would reach the masses. If money is an issue and you're starting your business or you're growing, you want to start with the free and inexpensive. So the number 1 media I would do, and it was good for about 50 deals a year for me, was home seller seminars. I did 4 a year. I did them every quarter. And we would promote the home seller seminars to our marketplace. And it wouldn't be about listing their home or selling their home. It would be about how to get your home ready to go to the market. And I would say, we're going to talk about common seller mistakes that you can avoid, so you avoid catastrophic mistakes many sellers make, how to reduce your expenses when selling, how to structure your offer with your best interests in mind. An informative, informational, quarterly, 2-hour seminar in your market. You could do a webinar and you're reaching the masses. We'd get 15, 18 couples, Pete, to come to our quarterly seminar, and we'd, end up listing almost all of them. So, you add value, people feel they want to reciprocate, and they end up choosing you. So seller seminars would be good. But more importantly, in terms of generating leads, your messaging, it's the vital organ again. Do you want your brain or give up your kidneys? You can have the right media. Video is very good. Social media ad spending is very inexpensive. And some of you are doing that and not getting great results. It's because your kidneys are in failure and you've got shitty messaging. You're bragging about how great you are. You're talking about stuff that you should be talking about at the appointment, but not in an ad to get them to call you. I'll give you an example. How many of us put a thumbs up or a yay in the chat if we can agree as professionals that a seller pricing their home is important? Thumbs up? Do we agree with that? I see it all the time. In advertising, people doing videos. I got a postcard the other day. Why pricing your home is critical. Didn't we just say that the number 1 thing sellers want is to get the most amount of money for their home? So I see you on video talking about how critical it is for you to price your home. Is that going to make me want to pick up the phone and call you? No, I'm going to call my buddy. I'm going to call my neighbor who's got a real estate license. I'm going to call my hairdresser who's got a real estate license instead of calling you. And I saw your video. I saw your postcard. So instead, what if you did the opposite? And in the promo, we talked about why the opposite of what you're doing works 1,000 times better. How many of you want to talk to more sellers? I want to talk to sellers. So here's the message. Instead of telling them in the front end, you got to price your home competitively, why don't you do this instead? Because of all the great marketing Matt Battiata does, we're confident we can sell your home at the top of the market. Name your asking price with Matt Battiata. Name it. I'll get it for you. So now they've talked to two agents, their hairdresser and their neighbor, who told them that their house was worth $700,000, and they're going, man, I'd really like to get more. Now I have a seat at the table because they call me and go, hey, you said we could name our asking price. When can I come and see your home? Not only can you name your asking price because it's your home. Now notice, I'm not saying I'll take the listing. I'm saying it's your home. You're in charge. You're in total control. Not only are you in charge of the price, I can give you inexpensive recommendations to help you maximize your sales price and get more for your home. When can I come over? So step one generated the lead that you otherwise wouldn't have had. Step two, I've got the appointment. Step three, I'm going to show them that their house is only worth $700,000, just like everybody else. But because I'm there and my listing presentation is better, I walk away with the listing.
You stay there until you get the listing signed, majority of the time?
40 minutes I get it signed. It's not like in the early days when I had no skills, when I was desperate, when I didn't have the skills. See, motivation, personality isn't going to make you rich. It's the price of admission today. You got to be motivated. You got to be hungry. You got to have a good personality. You got to get along with people and care. But in the early days, when I didn't have the skills, when I didn't know what to say, when I didn't know how to articulate my value, oh yeah, well, we're going to think about it. Do you know what it means when they tell you they're going to think about it? They've thought about it. They've thought about it. And it ain't you. So I'd be like, whoa, what is it? And I'd have to close them and do all that manipulative sales technique bullshit. Nobody likes to be sold. Let's transition as an industry on this call. Let's start with these leaders and go from salesperson to order taker. What if you, can I tell a quick story, Pete? This will probably connect the dots. So I've been banged up a lot. I've been hit by cars. I've fallen out of windows as a baby. I've got all kinds of vertebrae and spinal issues. True story. I've been going to a chiropractor for 30 years. I think Pete came to a football game and I said, Pete, my back's out of line. I need you to adjust me. And I go, I'll tell you what to do. And he adjusts my back and you hear crack, crack, crack. I'm like, oh my God, that was heaven. But I've had a chiropractor for 30 years. I play golf with him. I go to dinner with him. I play poker with him on Thursday nights, once a month. Great guy. I ask him, I go, I don't feel like I feel like I'm getting worse. He goes, well, you're getting older and we're just trying to keep you going and just as long as we can till you die. I go, okay. I go, well, should we take some x-rays? You think anything else is going on? He goes, no, I know what's going on. I said, all right. So I'm home, and with AI and social media and smartphones, it's hearing my conversations with my wife. And all of a sudden, I start seeing chiropractor ads on my Facebook feed. Now, my chiropractor charges $85 for an adjustment. It's reasonable. It's the best money I pay. And I see an ad, get a free adjustment and a free evaluation with this 603, the area code I live in, 603 chiropractor. A nice, compelling offer. Notice this chiropractor didn't talk about his track record, how many spines he's adjusted. Taking a picture with a client and posting it to, look at, I just adjusted this. They don't do that shit. They create compelling offers. So I click on the link, I find a link in his schedule, and I book an appointment, and I feel like I'm cheating on my wife, right? I feel horrible about it. This guy generated the lead. I go there. He walks me through his listing presentation. He educates me on the spine and the vertebrae and what's going on in my neck, and I am blown away. Long story short, he acquired me as a client. I've been there. Look what's on my desk. He does corrective treatment, not maintenance treatment. Corrective. So this I just got yesterday at my visit, Pete. This wasn't a prop. I wasn't planning on sharing this story, but that's how you win over 400 sales a year when people know people who are in real estate. You have to have more value. So I don't know what I'm going to say to my old chiropractor when I run into him the next time. He's going to be like, I haven't seen you in 3 months. Yeah, I know. Well, let me tell you the truth and what happened. Because somebody had a better value proposition for you. And I'm into corrective, not maintenance. I want to get better, not slowly decline. So that's what we need to do with our presentations.
Yeah, and if you guys don't feel that you have the best value proposition, you have to connect with Brian. He'll refine it to your market, to what you're focusing on, to really help you be more productive and to get your messaging across the right way to the clientele you want to work with. Like, who is your ideal client, right? He's a master of manipulation when it comes to neuro-linguistic programming and all the things that Tony Robbins uses, you guys. This is like being able to have the Tony Robbins of real estate in front of you. It's really amazing. Brian, let me ask you this question. What's one lead source most agents right now are ignoring that are working right now in this market? Give me one lead source.
It's so obvious. I'll give you two. One is signage. Okay, most real estate agents' signage strategy sucks. They don't think about their signage. They get a listing, they put a for sale sign up. I have a signage strategy. Multiple signs go on my property, multiple sign riders, a brochure box. How many of you want more sign calls? Well, let's come up with a strategy to effectuate that outcome. Sign riders. I heart referrals. Garbage. Call me with your phone number. There's no offer. They'll find your phone number if you put messaging on your sign riders. So here's some inexpensive sign riders. They're $10 a piece. Low down payment. That'll make the phone ring. Open every day. Call for times. Special financing. Home sold to the highest bidder. Hey, what does that mean? What does that mean? Well, the house is listed for $899.9. It's competitively priced. It's open for inspection this week. If you'd like to see it, I'd be happy to show it to you. The seller is expecting multiple offers, and we think we'll sell the property for over the asking price. But if you'd like to be one of the highest bidders, I'm happy to get you in. Home sold to the highest bidder. So have a signage strategy. And we generated about 50 sales a year from signs, from our for sale signs and our sign riders. So that's one. Here's another one. Okay. This is my first business card when I got into the real estate, circa 1990, Pete. That thing should be in the Smithsonian, right?
Yeah.
Most of us have business cards. So I go graduate. There's me a few years ago, right? So I have business cards. But I know, look. But nobody has any messaging on their business cards. Business cards are a cheap, inexpensive media. What if you put on your business cards, name your asking price with Pete Middleton? Because of the marketing we do, we're confident we can sell your home for top dollar. Call for a free evaluation. And you leave those around town. I go all around town. I travel the country doing events and seminars. I go in to grab a sandwich, or I stop, I don't know, at a restaurant, and I see this cork board with business cards all over it, and there's 20 realtors. Well, why should I call this person? There's no reason for me to call this person. I know a real estate agent. But if you put some messaging on your business cards, you can optimize what you're already doing. So here's what I say to answer your question. Those are two specific examples. The number one thing they can do to generate more business, Pete, is optimize what they're already doing before they go look for more shit to do. Let's fix our signage strategy. Let's fix our business card strategy. What about your email signature? What about your voicemail greeting? How many people send you you do send emails to per year, and you have no marketing on anything that you do? No messaging.
I love that. I love that. Hey, let me ask you this question, because we have around 5 minutes left, and then we're going to open it up for questions. I want people to get their questions answered. Here's a key question that I think is important right now. What would you suggest for all the people on this call to do today that wasn't working 2 years ago? So what can they do today or this weekend to elevate their production, to elevate their lead capture, to elevate their sales that wasn't working 2 years ago?
What wasn't working 2 years ago, what still isn't working today, is promoting yourself. Talking about how great you are, how proud you are to have served a Joe and Mary Smith who just bought this home. That didn't work 2 years ago. And some people on the call are like, well, it actually did work. I got a call from it. A call doesn't work. I want predictable, scalable results. I'm not satisfied unless I'm getting dozens of calls. So everything that I did when I was selling real estate still works today. Good, compelling, irresistible, differentiating messages. A couple of things that I would say, the opposite of what you're doing now for many of you. How many of you are doing stuff and you're not getting results? I was one of those agents. Stop it. The definition of insanity, doing the same thing over and over again, getting different results. Do the opposite. It's the opposite principle. The opposite of what everybody else is doing works better. Here's an example. Here's what everybody can do. They can go back through their MLS for the last 12 months and pull every expired, withdrawn, and canceled listing that happened in the last 12 months that didn't relist. There's a big bucket of opportunity there. Instead of doing what everybody else does, try this strategy. Print out their MLS listing sheet. Take a big fat red magic marker. I don't know if I have one. Yeah, I do. Big fat red Sharpie, like a school teacher. And circle things that were left out, omissions, put question marks on it, grade this. It's easy to be a Monday morning quarterback. And I'm not talking about disparaging the listing agent whose listing expired. I'm talking about creating agitation to the seller. Like, it says central air, yes or no, and it's left blank. I would put a question mark. Lot size, left blank, or square footage was 3,000 square feet, 3,000. Really? I don't know that a house it's 3,150, it's 3,129. I'd put question marks. I'd draw arrows. I would put 5, 6, 7, 8 red marks all over this listing sheet. Never the price, never the price. And then I would take a sticky note and I would say, I know why your house didn't sell. I want to help. Give me a call. instead of, I remember this guy when I got into the business, he used to send a stick of dynamite to your house and say, your listing just blew up. Call me. And I spent thousands of dollars sending sticks of dynamite and nobody called. You think it's cute, you think it's different, but the proof's in the pudding, it didn't work. You need to make offers. That's the secret sauce. Make offers.
Hey, Brian, if I gave you 30 days to coach me to help me dramatically increase listings, what would you have me do step by step?
Well,
give me 3
days.
steps.
Yeah, 30 days. I'd have you first determine who is your ideal client profile. Okay, we try to be all things to everybody, and we want listings. And when you're all things to everybody, you're nothing to nobody. So I'd say, Pete, who do you want to go after? And you'd say, what's the neighborhood you live in, Pete, when I stayed with you in Nashville? What's the name of it?
The Grove.
The Grove, right? So if you say, Brian, I want to go after homes in the Grove, those are beautiful homes, high price points. I go, what other areas nearby, if I were looking at the Grove, what other subdivisions, what are they called that I would be looking at? Give me 2 more.
Troubadour, Governor's Club, because they're all golf communities.
Okay, so I would get tunnel vision and create messaging that attracts those sellers. And I would create a message that would say something like this. Due to the shortage of inventory in and around Nashville, Tennessee, specifically in Troubadour, the Grove, and Governor's Club, we have several buyers actively looking that are pre-approved, well-qualified, offering flexible closing date on your terms. If you're thinking about selling, give me a call. That would be determining your ICP, coming up with one message that speaks to that audience. That's called message to market match. And you'll get quality leads. You're not going to get hundreds of people calling you, but now you're getting a few people calling you that you actually want to work with. And that's when you can start to lower your hours, because I don't hunt and chase and prospect. And when I was prospecting 300 calls a day, that took 6 hours a day to get maybe one person who's thinking about selling in 2 years. Yeah, we're thinking about, oh my God, I got one today. I'll put him in my database. I'll nurture him. I'll drip him. I'll stay in. Working leads that are 2 years from now produces income that's 2 years from now. Let's attract. So I would tell you, determine your ICP, create good, compelling messaging, and let's go after them.
I like that. What would you have me stop doing immediately?
I'd have to see what you're doing, but what's most common in the industry is bragging and ego, and we are marketing to our peers, right? The reason agents go, look, I sold 42 homes. At the end of the year, it kills me. I'd like to thank the 42 seller clients that entrusted me. That's not for lead generation. That's to toot your own horn about the people in your market that you kicked their ass. Stop it. Nobody cares what you sold.
Yeah. And what do you feel? So my final question before we get to other people's questions are, what are top producers doing that average agents have no idea about right now in this market?
I'm sorry, you cut out.
What are top producers doing in this market that average agents have no idea about?
Every week they're working on their business. 3 to 5 hours of business development, scheduled, disciplined, structured time, looking at their KPIs, what's working, what's not working. They're obsessed with improving. The average agent isn't doing that. They're running around 100 miles an hour with their hair on fire.
Explain to everybody what a KPI is.
Key performance indicators. So some of us are spending 30-40% in referral fees. So on a $20,000 commission, 40% of that's $8,000 cost per sale. You don't think you can lower your cost per sale significantly by taking control of your own marketing, your own messaging, your own advertising? Everybody on this call can generate a sale for less than $1,000. So why build Zillow's brand and pay them $8,000 to do it when you can build your brand and put that $7,000 back into more marketing for compounded results?
I love that. Okay, Brian, before we get to their questions, how can people coach with you, connect with you, refine their messaging, refine their calls to action, and so forth? What's the best way to get connected with you?
Go to brianmoses.com. We just refreshed our website. My kids have left the house, flew the coop, so I'm doing everything. I'm working on my business. So brianmoses.com, there's some great information there. We have an inner circle group coaching program, a one-on-one coaching program. It's just me, so I don't have a lot of capacity for one-on-one, but if you feel like you're the right fit, apply. We can hop on a call. I'll stick a microscope up the backside of your business, and I'll show you that you're pregnant with opportunity.
I love that. Okay, does everybody put your questions in the chat? Okay, let's ask Brian some questions. Let's get down to it. Where does your business need some help? What's on your mind? Put it in there. I'll ask Brian and we'll address it right now. We have 10 minutes left. Don't be shy. Otherwise, I'll keep asking my questions. Brian, what would separate me from 95% of the other agents in my marketplace if I actually executed? What do you feel is the most important thing?
Create a menu of services, not a commission menu of low, medium, high, but a menu of services. Come up with 4 offers for sellers, 4 offers for buyers, and put them on a rotation. Become known as the agent who demonstrates market, who's unique and different. In my market, until you get up close to the sign, you can't read the company or the name. If you know the colors, you might know it's a Remax or a Keller Williams or an EXP's agent sign, but they all look pretty much the same. Not with me. You can tell it's Brian Moses Marketing, and you get listings from that too, because now when people in the neighborhood want to sell their home, they can call an average agent or they can call somebody who actually demonstrates marketing. So make a menu of offers. Free home evaluation is the oldie and goodie. It still works 100 years later. Thinking about selling your home this year? Get a free market evaluation. Go to NashvilleHomePricing.com and then drive them to a landing page. But have 3 or 4 other messages. Name your asking price. Get an instant cash offer. Get up to $25,000 in free money to repair your home and just pay us back at closing. That's a really good offer. Your phone will ring off the hook. Buyer messages. So come up with, imagine having a restaurant, Pete, and you ask the waiter for a menu and they go, "We don't have any menus." Like, the sellers and buyers aren't going to say, "What do you do for me?" You need to tell them what you do for them. We have programs where you can name your asking price. We have programs where we can get you money to fix up your home to maximize your home's value. Want to learn more? Call me, click the link below, go to this website, etc. Direct response marketing. That'll be a game changer.
Love direct response marketing. Love direct. So Janice was asking, would you have an AI component do texting or calling to clients? How do you feel about that?
To clients, perhaps. To leads.
How about cold leads or leads?
Cold calling, maybe. I want to, nobody is better at converting a lead in my estimation than me. Okay, when you click on a one-on-one business evaluation call with Brian Moses, you're going to get Brian Moses. You're not getting AI. How would you feel if you got AI? So I'm going to do that call. I'm going to add value to you, and you'll probably end up working with me because it's going to be irresistible for you to get away from that opportunity and that benefit. But yeah,
Brian,
AI.
yeah. Okay. So Bridget Young, who's one of my favorite commercial agents at EXP, she said, I have a portfolio of 7 luxury houses that are partnered with Matt Battiata and Diane Mills on what should the write-up, right, or the riders on our signage say on that, on those 7 luxury portfolio houses. What should the riders, what should the sign say?
You know, you're going to not believe me, but even though it's luxury buyers want the same thing that average price buyers want. They want selection. You have 7 of them. So I would advertise all 7 together to give people selection and increase your odds of getting a response. They all want a good deal. So I would use language like priced below market. Now, just so you guys know, everything is priced below market because it has to appraise. So house is listed for $10 million. It appraises for $10,200,000. It was priced below market. So price below market will create interest. That would be something that I would do. Another thing that you might want to do is you might want to do a tour of homes in that price range or in that market. So make it easy for buyers to see homes. So if these 7 homes are yours and you have you have inventory, do a tour of homes. So advertise, hey, this Saturday between 11 and 2, or 11 and 3, because luxury homes are bigger, they take more time. We're going to do a tour of homes. Each home will be held open for 30 minutes. And we're going to go, this will be home number 1, home number 2, home number 3. And I would do a tour of homes. I would reduce risk by saying, you don't have to come to all of them. If you want to come to any one of them, here's the schedule, or come to all of them. We did a tour of homes, and we sold about a house a week from the tour of homes. Because when you get multiple buyers coming, your chances of selling a home go up. And when you get multiple buyers looking at 7 homes at a time, it was like a caravan for buyers, for the public. So that's just the thought.
Yeah. Soraya asked, she sent out a postcard saying free market evaluation in her neighborhood. She got a few people that got back to her, but then when she followed up, she didn't get anything out of it.
So that's step 2. What she said when she followed them up is probably the sticking point. That's probably what she needs to look at. So when you get the lead, what are you saying to get the offer? So when she calls them and she goes, hey, I'm responding to your inquiry, and they go, yeah, we're not ready yet. We're going to wait till after the spring. We're in no rush. Okay, great. When the timing is better, is maximizing your home's value important to you? They'll say yes. Well, the best time to do that is before you go to market. I'm in your neighborhood all the time. It sounds like you're not in a huge rush, so we don't need to get together today, which is, by the way, do the opposite of what salespeople do, right? Salespeople go, would you like me to come today at 3 or 5? That's pressure. It sounds like you're in no rush, but I'm in your neighborhood. I could stop by and give you some recommendations of things to do to increase your home's value when you do go to market. I can also point out things that you might be thinking of doing that you don't have to or shouldn't do that'll save you time and money. And we can give you a detailed breakdown of what your associated expenses would be if you were ever to sell. And there's no cost, no obligation for this service. I'm happy to do it. What's next week look like for you?
I love that. Love that. Hey, Brian and I want to give you guys something, a bonus. He's going to give away a complimentary evaluation of your business, a one-on-one call with him. If you put your thumbs up, we'll pick somebody based on the thumbs up. And Brian, you tell me when to stop, and we'll grab somebody. You know, put thumbs up in the chat if you can. That would be great.
Okay, stop. Pick someone.
We had Alicia.
All right, Alicia.
So Alicia, reach out to Brian. He'll do an evaluation of your current business and talk to see how he can help your messaging.
If anybody's interested, it's just me, okay? So if you go to brianmoses.com and you're interested in having a coach, there's no obligation to hire me. But don't use karma's a bitch, right? Like when you are just self-serving and I want to suck you dry. If you're open to being coached and you're serious about your business, schedule a call with me. We'll find a time in the calendar. I'll spend 30 minutes with you, and I'll show you more opportunities that you had no idea even existed that are right under your nose that you can fix. It's not about doing more. It's about fixing what you're already doing.
Yeah, that's a great point. And you guys, it'll change your business. If you're not happy with your results right now, take massive action. Get in touch with Brian. Brian, thank you so much from the bottom of my heart being on today. Great tips, great nuggets. You guys take these things, put them into action. They don't work if you don't put them into action. And have a really great and successful weekend. Brian, I'll talk to you soon. Thank you, everybody, for attending. Share this with other people. We don't care what company they're at. Share this mastermind so each week we have a growing audience and we'll provide more value to you guys. All right? Everybody have a successful weekend. Go Spring Market. Happy March Madness.
Thanks, Pete. Bye-bye.